He had 500 t-shirts sitting in a warehouse. Plain, white, a red logo on the front. Nothing special about them, and he was about to do something that would make any rational business owner sick to their stomach. He was going to burn 400 of them, not sell them at a discount, not donate them, not return them to the manufacturer, burn them. His name doesn't matter as much as what he understood about human psychology that almost nobody else in retail was willing to act on. He believed that having less to sell would make people want it more. So one afternoon, 400 perfectly good t-shirts were destroyed. 100 remained, and within days, those remaining shirts, the exact same shirt he could have sold for $30, were reselling online for over $300. 10 times the price for a t-shirt that cost about $4 to make. This wasn't a one-off stunt. This became the entire business model of one of the most successful streetwear brands on earth. The brand was Supreme, and by 2023 they were generating over $500 million a year, with only 17 stores worldwide. 17 stores, $500 million. Here's how they did it. Every single product Supreme makes is produced in limited quantities. Once it sells out, it never comes back. No restocks. No, we found more in the warehouse. No second chances. Lines form outside Supreme stores hours before opening. Their website crashes during drops because so many people try to buy it the exact same second. People who can't get the item in store buy it on resale markets for 5, 10, sometimes 20 times the original price. And the maddening part, Supreme could make more. They have the manufacturing capacity. They have the demand already proven. They could print another 10,000 of any sold-out item and sell every single one within hours. They choose not to, because Supreme understood something that most businesses get completely backwards. Scarcity isn't a limitation on sales. Scarcity is the product. Here's the psychology behind why this works on every single one of us, including you. In 1975, a researcher named Stephen Warshall ran an experiment that's still referenced in psychology classrooms today. He gave people cookies. Identical cookies. Same recipe, same batch, same everything. But he put them in 2 different jars. One jar had 10 cookies in it, the other jar had just 2. People consistently rated the cookies from the jar with only 2 as tasting better. Better. Not, I want them more. Not, I'd pay more for them. They tasted physically better to the people eating them, despite being identical in every measurable way. That's not a marketing trick. That's how the human brain is wired. We don't evaluate value in isolation. We evaluate it relative to availability. When something feels rare, our brain assumes there must be a reason it's rare. And that reason, almost automatically, becomes quality. Supreme didn't invent this principle. They just understood it deeply enough to build an empire on it. Now here's a story that takes this even further. Because Supreme at least makes a real product, this next person sold something that costs literally nothing to produce. Water. In the early 2000s, a company launched a bottled water brand and did something that should have been commercial suicide. They charged $40 a bottle. For water. Tap water, filtered and bottled, costs fractions of a cent to produce. You can get a bottle of water at a convenience store for $1. This company looked at that market and decided to charge 40 times more. Industry experts said it would never work. Why would anyone pay $40 for something they could get from a tap? But the company wasn't selling water. They were selling a signal. The bottle was designed like a piece of art. Thick glass, unique shape, displayed in 5-star restaurants and luxury hotels next to $1,000 bottles of wine. When a $40 bottle of water sits on a table next to a $400 steak, it doesn't feel out of place. It feels like it belongs. This is the price-quality heuristic at its most extreme. Our brains use price as a shortcut for value. When something costs more, we assume, often without any conscious thought at all, that it must be better. The water didn't taste 40 times better than tap water. It couldn't possibly. There's no chemical difference that would justify that markup. But the experience of drinking it felt different, because the price told the brain it should feel different. And the company made millions doing nothing more than understanding that water and perception are 2 completely separate products. And you can sell both at the same time. Now I want to flip this completely on its head, because everything so far has been about taking things away or charging more. This last story is about giving things away for free, and somehow making more money doing it. A shoe brand once made a decision that looked on paper like financial suicide. They started giving away free pairs of shoes to strangers on the street. Not a small giveaway, hundreds of pairs. People stopped in the street, handed a brand new pair of shoes, no purchase required, no strings attached. Their accountants were furious. Free product with 0 immediate return looks like the worst possible business decision you can make. But within that same quarter, sales tripled. Here's the psychological principle behind why. It's called reciprocity, and it's one of the oldest, most deeply wired rules in human social behavior. When someone gives us something, even something small, even something we didn't ask for, we feel an almost involuntary obligation to give something back. The people who received free shoes didn't just keep quiet about it. They posted about it. They told friends. They became walking advertisements for a brand that had given them something for nothing. And many of them, even though they'd already received a free pair, went on to buy more. Different colors. Gifts for friends. Because the brand had created a relationship, not just a transaction. Costco does a version of this every single day with free samples in their stores. The samples cost the company almost nothing. But customers who try a sample feel a subtle, often unconscious pull to buy the product, or at minimum, to feel slightly more loyal to a store that just gave them something for free. Reciprocity doesn't need to be expensive. It just needs to feel genuine. 3 stories. 3 completely different tactics. One man burned 400 t-shirts and made his remaining stock worth 10 times more. One company charged $40 for something that costs nothing to make, by selling a feeling instead of a product. One brand gave shoes away for free and tripled their sales doing it. Burning inventory, charging more for nothing, giving things away. On the surface, those 3 decisions look like they contradict each other completely, but they're built on the exact same foundation. Every single one of them understood that the actual product being sold was never the t-shirt, the water, or the shoes. The actual product was a feeling. Scarcity, status, gratitude. And once you understand that distinction, that what you're really selling is never the object itself, you start to see why some businesses can charge 10 times more for the same thing. And why some of the most profitable decisions in business history looked, from the outside, like complete madness. If this changed the way you think about what you're actually selling, subscribe to The Corporate Mind. Every week we go inside the psychology and the stories behind how the world's most successful businesses really operate. I'll see you in the next one.